everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Positude podcast. I am your host, Maggie Hart, here again another week. Boy, has it, hopefully everybody had an amazing holiday. I know that I absolutely did have a great time with very special people and was really able to reconnect and touch base with some people that I haven't been able to spend quality time with in a really long time, like in some cases 7 or 8 years. So it was definitely a great time for me, and I hope with all of my heart that all of you had an amazing holiday season, whether or not you celebrate, that it was a good time of year for you, a good time to hopefully at least relax, rejuvenate, and ring out the old and bring in the new. I hope that it's been a time of reflection for all of you and a time to revel in the glory of knowing that this year is going to be a very special one for you. Things are going to change. Things are changing on the planet. But for you personally, know that with your hard work and your continued efforts, things are only going to get better for you personally. And know that even though we have some trials sometimes ahead, there are forces that always have your back. I call them maybe something different than what you call them, and that's okay. I know what I believe, you know what you believe, and maybe there's room for us to talk about that and to change our minds along the way. And irregardless, we should know that we are loved, we are protected by our Creator, and hopefully some of us were able to feel the love and the warmth of the people around us that care for us and truly value us, and we were able to show them the same in kind. We were able to share in a peaceful, joyous closeness that only comes from people that you can strip away all of the acts from and all of the falsities and all of the craziness that is really truly you can shine. You can be your own person and be totally comfortable in your own skin in front of the people, hopefully, that you spent time with, because we are coming into, and we have been coming into, a period of extreme authenticity. So, haters gonna hate, but the time for being plastic and fake and deceptive is over. This year is going to be a year of shining the light on people who are not honest, and it's going to be a time personally for you to work on areas that you need to strengthen in order to be a shining light and a beacon for those in need and for your loved ones, but mostly for yourself, somebody that you can be proud of. So all of the fakeness is going away. People are not going to be drawn to that as they were in the past. The falsities are getting pushed aside, and truth and sincerity and honesty and compassion and love, that's where we're going in this coming year. It may not seem like it, but that's where we're going, and that's what we're striving for even more with the start of this wonderful new year. Wonderful new year. With all of this crazy fog that's going on. So I do want to spend some time talking about this because it's been in the news, and pretty much everybody that I've encountered or spoken to or heard from during the holiday season has had some sort of instance with this phenomena that's happening, whether it be a cold or something that they witnessed as far as, well, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on about the fog. I mean, kind of feel like I'm in a Stephen King movie maybe, with the weirdness of it all. But we knew that the bad guys were going to be pushing these agendas, especially before the president-elect gets in. And we know about things like the Georgia Guidestones, and we know about the agendas that are fast approaching, where they want to have a tremendous amount of the population decreased. So here we go. The ride's getting a little bit bumpy. Strap on your seatbelts and let's go along for the ride. At least until we get the courage to scream out, "Stop, I'm getting off, I've had enough, and I don't want to play this game anymore." There is a degree of this that is highly illusory in nature. I keep revisiting the parallel timelines and all of that. I've been getting a lot of messages and some visions in relation to that, as well as having done a lot of research on that matter. And that's something that we'll probably broach in future episodes. But for today, I'd like to focus on what seems to be a very prevalent issue over a lot of the world. I'm going to play some clips for you also as we traverse this episode, so you can hear people's stories from their own lips, as it were. These were taken from TikTok and things like that. And I'm not on TikTok, but other people are, and they've posted these videos, so I wanted to share some of those with you. So in my research this week, people from Florida, Los Angeles, New Jersey, Georgia, Canada, the UK, Germany, seems to be pretty widespread, are having issues with this mysterious fog and rain, but mostly the fog and the fog after the rain. A lot of people are reporting that it smells like something is burning and has a distinct chemical smell to it. One person said that it smelled kind of like broccoli at first and then turned to a more chemical smell. People are complaining of physiological issues as a result of this fog and in conjunction with the fog arriving. There have been complaints of people not sleeping, loss of appetite, shortness of breath, sinus issues, nausea, dizziness, muscle aches, tiredness, a cough, rashes after coming into contact with skin, severe eyes itching and burning. And I actually knew 2 kids that came down with something this week after the fog, that one of them almost had to be put on a nebulizer. The breathing was so labored, but thankfully it cleared up relatively quickly, and the one child just ended up with a bad cough. That was another thing, like a watery cough, not just a dry cough. It seems like it's a wet, mucousy cough with this. So people have been, trying to do their own research to a degree. They're shining flashlights into this fog and, sneezing too. A lot of people are sneezing. But they're shining flashlights into the fog, and you can see obvious things flying around in it. I know that I reported on, and we've talked about on my shows before, that even going back as far as in the summer up in Maine several months ago at night with a flashlight, the beam was reflecting tons of visible particulate matter in the beam, and this was usually after a rain and fog. So this is going back several months ago there, but people are widespread reporting it on it now. they're saying that it looks like snow in the beam of the flashlight. That wasn't my experience. My experience looked like, well, maybe like fine, thin, quick flakes of snow, but it seemed like it was more particulate matter, and it did swirl and it did move. Almost like if you were in a squall where the snow was blowing, this particulate matter was swirling around. But a lot of it looked really tiny too. It almost looked like if you shined a flashlight, or let me explain it to you this way. If you're in your bedroom and you pull up your blinds and the sun is coming in, that beam, and when you look into the beam of sun, you can see sometimes like dust particles flying through the air. And you definitely can see them. They're visible to the naked eye. My earlier experiences were more like that, only there were bigger particles. So, but yeah, the beam reflects tons of particulate matter in it. A lot of people are saying, yeah, it looks like snow. And when I watch their videos, what they have coming down absolutely looks a lot more like snow than what I had witnessed. A lady put up a video walking on her block after a rain where what looked like clear quartz crystals or clear rock salt was all over her road on her block. It looked like she was in a cul-de-sac. And in the grass also, and she picked up a bunch of it, and it was hard. She actually clicked it together, and you'll be able to hear this in the video, and she called it little shards were breaking off of these pieces of this hard material. And she said they're like little shards. Look, they're on my hand. But they were, for the most part, these things were staying solid, and they were pretty decent size. Another video showed what appeared to be tiny, looked like BBs, tiny white BBs. And in East Texas, there was a woman who did a video of her friend's pool where, honestly, to me, it looked like gobs of cottony substance. It almost looked like the white pillow stuffing that you use when you make a pillow. And it was just kind of laying all over the surface of the top of her pool. It almost looked like the fake snow stuff too. But boy, her pool, the globs that were in her pool were pretty sizable in nature. They weren't tiny. They were pretty big, from maybe golf ball to, let's say, maybe football size. There was a guy in Germany who wiped the frozen fog away from his fence, and it kind of fell and was hard, almost kind of like frozen ice. That also, though, it had a really sharp appearance to it. The shards looked very, very sharp. And there was a guy in Colorado who says that he couldn't hardly walk after being out in the fog for 2 hours. He was so incredibly weak after his experience. A lot of people reporting on being sick and sick for days, and they all seem to have pretty much the same symptoms. I also watched a video from December 30th from the UK where a man showed like a white milky substance in the rain on the windows that when he touched it and ran his finger through it, it kind of ran together like droplets of water would, but it was distinctly milky. To me, it almost looked like a watered down Elmer's glue. I thought that was highly unusual. And I know here last week this hail-like stuff did come down when it rained, but it didn't melt right away when I picked it up. So it wasn't like the ladies in the videos where it stayed hard. It just didn't melt like right away. I picked up some, and it looked kind of similar to what she had, but it also kind of looked like hail. It just didn't melt as quickly in the warmth of my hand as hail usually does. And tonight it was snowing here. We're getting a storm. And I looked out my storm door, and there were, on the glass, there were these crystalline figures that also look kind of shard, kind of like ice, but snow. But, we've all seen snow that looks, snowflakes, that's got points on it and then looks really beautiful to look at. There was just something about this that looked different than the normal snow that forms on my windows. And so I did reach out and grab a little bit of that, maybe half a teaspoon to a teaspoon. And when I touched it, it did have almost a slimy, plasticky texture to it. It felt weird. And so I took it inside and I put it on a colored paper advertisement in the warmth of my kitchen to see how long it would take to melt, because gosh knows, when you're out in the snow and you're shoveling, you get those little clumps of hard snow on your snow pants or your boots. It could take, or your gloves, hat. It could take forever to melt, it seems like. It did take quite a while, and I do feel like it took a little bit longer than normal, but I can't really say that I've had any of the experiences that the other people have had, at least up to now, other than my physical symptoms. The burning and the itching of the eyes has been going on since we saw up on the mountain the chemical particulate matter in the fog, and even before that. And I reported on this before. I've actually talked about it on my shows. I've been to the doctor, the eye doctor, and he says it's from being around dust and working in dust, but eye irritation. And it doesn't stand to reason, because I don't work in dust a lot. I was working, cleaning out my basement and stuff like that, and I was working up in my loft and around dust there. I've been in some dusty environments just because I've been helping some family members clean out some stuff that was kind of stored. And so I have been subjected to dust that would, stand to reason, me having the issues that I have. But they started way back when the weather was still warm, and they started when something in the environment had changed, where, and I've talked about this on my show too, where I was outside and I was short of breath, and so was everybody else that was outside around me. All of my friends were like, I'm outside and I'm losing, I can't take a deep breath, my chest hurts, my lung hurts, I have no energy, I feel lethargy, muscle aches, pretty much all of the stuff that the people are complaining about with the snow, we had experienced much earlier, several months ago, with the rain. I guess you could pin it back to the rain, but the changes in the environment up there. So I don't know if anybody remembers too the snow from last year that people were doing a lot of videos about, where it was plastic. They were picking it up and it wasn't melting. In some cases it was blue. It had like this blue tinge to it, or this greenish tinge to it, funny colors, orange. I remember seeing, and I know that when we were getting the rain in my bird feeders, there was this orangish red particulate matter in both places, whether I was up on the mountain or I was in my little city here. Same type of stuff coming out of the skies with the rain then. So it's all seemingly tied together, but for whatever reason at this juncture, the fog seems to be loaded with this particulate matter right now. Nobody seems to be reporting on their animals and how their animals are doing with it, at least not that I've seen. And I was perusing comments as well, but my animals have been off the last couple of days to a week since we started getting the fog in this area. They're much more lethargic. Animals know, they just have this inner guidance, as do we. We're just not aware of ours yet. At least not everybody is, or most of us are not, or at least not to the degree that we should be. But they don't want to be outside long. They want to go out, do their business, chase some squirrels, and come right back in. And I've been noting for over a week now, since the fog did get pretty thick here, for several days that their appetite is markedly decreased and they are much more lethargic and they're actually more clingy and seem a little bit more needy than they normally do. In fact, my one puppy, who never ever dreams in his sleep, and at least not audibly, I don't hear him make noises in his sleep. He rarely kicks his feet and seems like he's dreaming. His sister, yeah, but he doesn't usually. He was whining and really whining in his sleep yesterday, like he didn't feel good. So some atypical things that I've noticed with my pets since the fog's been in this area. And I was just wondering if anybody else had issues with their pets as well. I know my one cat up on the mountain, she doesn't typically want to go outside in the wintertime anyway, but she's been hanging around the house a lot more and also seems to be more clingy and needy than normal. And that may just be because she misses me, I don't know, but when an animal changes its behavior, at least for me, because I'm so in tune with them so much of the time, it's definitely something that I pay attention to. And I'm curious to know if any of you have noticed any of these issues. Also, in one of the comment sections for one of the videos that I watched, a gentleman said that wood smoke cleared the fog, got rid of the fog. I have a wood stove, but I hadn't noticed any difference. I hadn't thought to go out and look at nighttime to see if the wood smoke cut through the fog or got rid of the fog. But if any of you have wood stoves or fireplaces, or you have a campfire with your friends, please observe what you see and let me know. I would think that when you're burning wood and it comes up through the chimney, that it's gonna give the appearance of cutting through the fog as the smoke rises, but maybe he just wasn't articulating himself properly, and there's more to that we could take a look at too. Maybe the smoke from the chimney, because it's warm, is melting some of the particulate matter, so it appears as though the fog is maybe less dense. I'm not really sure what his point was, but it was interesting. Okay, let me play a couple of these clips for you so that you can hear these people's testimonies and theories. We'll start with a lady that has a theory that the fog is related to the drones.
This is purely hypothetical. This is purely theoretical. This is purely a hypopotamus, okay? Hear me out. Y'all know about the drones in the sky. Have y'all noticed more fog advisories in your area? I have. I've seen a shit ton of fog advisories all across the country, okay? I think the drones and the fog, they're connected. How the f*** could these two things be connected? Well, it's called smart dust, and it was developed by DARPA in the mid-1990s. Smart dust is a system of tiny wireless sensors that can pick up vibrations, light, temperature, all kinds of shit, right? And this smart dust can be introduced anywhere. It can be introduced to a human body. It can be introduced to an atmosphere. These sensors even have communication capabilities, so they can report back to whatever the hell they're reporting to begin with. Sometimes they're even little mini computers floating in the sky or in a body or wherever they want to put this smart dust. Now, DARPA claims that smart dust is only used for research, and of course, everything there is top secret, so we'll never actually know what they're using smart dust for. Now, how are the drones connected? Well, this smart dust needs a battery to keep it going. And the smart dust has to be dispersed somehow. If you were going to create a force field of sensors to pick up all these readings, wouldn't you want it in real time? Why would you want how hot it is somewhere or what the vibrations were somewhere 20 hours later? No, you want it in real time, right? And what if the smart dust fucks up? What if it needs to be recalibrated or adjusted? It'd be perfect if there was a drone right above it.
What is going on right now? With this whole fog stuff, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go search it. Just type in fog. You'll see. This is not natural. It looks like fog, but people have been putting up flashlights at night. Let me show you what it looks like.
What is this? I have never, ever seen this. This isn't fog. It acts like fog. And there is a very weird smell.
There's a very distinct smell. Everyone's saying it smells like something's burning. like chemicals, having respiratory issues for being outside for 60 seconds. It's going on for days all across the world, in Georgia, in Canada, in Florida, in London, throughout the UK. I'm gonna show you somebody's filter that they have in their house. Mind you, they changed it a month ago. I've never seen anything like it.
In the actual fuck. Look at this filter, y'all. I've never pulled out a filter this dark in my life. This is not normal. It's black. Look at the new one.
You live in these areas, change your filters once a freaking week. This is some dark shit. Like the fact that this requires a gas mask for you to be safe. My heart goes out to all y'all. Like, be safe out there.
Okay, so with the filters, I have read and heard several different people stating that normally they wouldn't have to change their filters, every few months. And they're all saying essentially the same thing the woman said in that clip, was that after like a month, their filters are jet black. That definitely is not normal for someone that's always had air purifiers and filters, well, for at least 10, 12 years, probably longer now. I can tell you that's definitely not normal. You might have some discoloration after a few months, but not black. Definitely not jet black. I would just like to remind everybody at this point, not to toot my own horn, but if you go back through my archives several months ago, I did tell everybody that I thought it would be a good idea for them to get home filtration units and take precautionary measures to do things that would cleanse the air inside your home. And I remember saying that your home is your sanctuary, and it would be beneficial to take steps that even if you can't afford a purifier, but take different steps, little things that you can do to purify the air in your home. And the reason for that was because of the issues that I was facing because of the stuff that was coming down in the chemtrails and in the rain. And it's something that I've been struggling with for many months now. Actually, the warm weather was how many months ago? And just being outside today for a minute, my eyes have been burning and just stinging horribly all day. And I went out and I fed my birds and I visited the neighbor's puppies and gave them some treats. Took approximately a minute, and I was winded by the time I got back to my back deck. So there's absolutely something very abnormal going on with chemtrails, rain, the fog, all of this. There's some sort of particulate matter, and it's not something good that's being put into our environment. And so we need to figure out what it is. We need to get this stuff tested. Like, we should be taking samples and getting this tested to figure out what it is. For instance, the lady in the video that had the stuff in her driveway that was hard, a viable material, that should be going right out to the lab to figure out what it is, and then spreading the word to the rest of us so that we can all become aware. And we should all be doing that. If you have something that's viable that you can hold in your hand that's come out of the sky, please take it to be tested and share your knowledge with the rest of us. Here's another short clip that I found interesting. I'm hoping that you do too.
The fog. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's trying to figure out where it's coming from, why, and what it might be doing to us. We all have our suspicions, but I just found this. MAGA Brittany had this to say. In regards to the fog, I found this document from the Air Force 2025 report that was published in 1999. The site has been removed from the internet, but I found it on the Wayback Machine. It discusses tiny nanoparticles that can be delivered through fog, making them undetected. There are both defensive and offensive reasons why the military government would disperse fog on purpose. Now we just need to figure out why they're dispersing it now.
Let's talk about the fog conspiracy going around. I'm a meteorologist in Southwest Florida. There's fog behind me. Let's break down, what the internet is saying about that. People all over America are experiencing heavy fog. Okay. Everyone is wondering, what are the odds that this happens right when they don't want people looking up in the sky during the drones and orbs situation? And we have a list of places and videos to accompany that of places across the United States that have been seeing fog. They also listed the times of day that the fog has been reported: middle of the day, 12 noon, 3:30 in the afternoon. Fog can develop at any point during the day. Of course, most commonly it develops in the morning hours. However, again, it can develop at any time during the day. Now, maybe this is a coincidence that all this unusual fog is happening all over the country at the exact same time, that they don't want anyone looking up at the skies with the drones and orb situation taking place. My favorite part here: there are many logical atmospheric explanations for heavy fog. But is this all just too coincidental?
Okay, so in the first clip, the lady is sharing information that she found from MAGA Brittany, and it appears to be good research, but she does stress that that is, kind of like invisible particulates. In every video that I've seen, and also what I witnessed with my own eyes, this is absolutely visible material. In fact, we spoke earlier about how a lot of people are saying it looks like snow. There was a clip I saw for the St. Augustine, Florida area that just looked insane. It looked like a snowstorm. It was that thick. The flakes were that big, and in other videos as well. So maybe they're doing that in combination with whatever else they're putting in the sky. Who knows? The second clip was a meteorologist trying to debunk the situation with the fog. She did not mention, and I thought it interesting that she did not at any point mention the particulate matter or the debris that's floating around in the fog. She was strictly and only addressing the people who were talking about the times and the areas of the fog, and she was trying very hard to make people seem crazy for complaining about the times and appearances of the fog. But I would have to think if she'd heard these videos or looked at people's comments, I would think it would be hard to not notice the fact that they were also talking about the stuff that was swirling around in the fog. So good try, sweetheart, but I'm going to have to give you a fail, an epic fail for that one. Hey, we have a certain percent of the population that believes in the things that we talk about on my shows and the other shows on this network. And we have people who think that we're batshit crazy, and that's okay. And then we have the people that are in between, or the people that start off not believing and then through personal experiences end up coming around and seeing some of the things that we talk about as having some teeth and some credence to it. And that's fine too, but I have to wonder what her motive was in that video. Was she strictly miffed as a meteorologist and taking it at face value and strictly focusing on the fog itself? Again, I find that a little bit sketchy, because everything that I've seen associated with the fog and the times and where it was and how long it's lasted has also directly stated that there's stuff in the fog, and look at what's in the fog, and why does the fog look like this? Why does it look like it's snowing? We know what mainstream media does, so I'll just let that one go. So here's the clip of the lady that I was telling you about earlier that was taking her walk and found the solid rock salty stuff.
So I'm just going on my walk here, and I'm seeing these crystal pellets all over the place. And at first I thought it was ice. And I picked it up, and they're not heavy, they're very light. What is that? This is coming out of our sky. It just rained. They are all over the place. It is on this block here. I'm walking just to see if it's in one area. But it's literally all over the place. Look. It's not ice. It's not melting. It's like plastic. It's not a rock. I've never seen a rock like this. And it's leaving these shards of glass. You see that? All over my hand as I do this. Look. It's like breaking apart. What is going on? What is that?
So you can hear her jingling these things in her hand, and it looks like a clear chunks of rock salt or something. Very, very bizarre indeed. It's past time for us to take a break. So I'd like to thank my good buddy Pat Carr, who allows me to play his music for my intros and exits and sometimes my break time music. Pat's an amazing original artist from Louisiana, now in Colorado. He is on SoundClick, Reverb Nation, YouTube. He is all over the place. Please check him out and support his music. You can find him at http://www.itunes.com/Pat Carr. We are totally listener funded here on the network. Please support us however you can, whether it be $1, $5, $10, whatever you can do. We greatly appreciate your donations to keep us on the air. If you want to be a superstar and you have your own business and have a commercial, please consider hosting a spot as a sponsor on our network, whether it be on my show or any other show on the network. We would love to have you, and it's a great way to mutually beneficially help each other. Also, if you don't have a commercial, please contact the owner. I'm sure he and the producer would love to produce a great commercial for you that you can be proud of to play on the network, and share a little bit about what it is that you do. What are your talents? What is your business? How can we help get the word out for you to promote your individual awesome talents and abilities? And I have special talents and abilities that I'm happy to share with you. If you have any emotional, spiritual, physical, mental needs, if you need some life coaching, if you need some spiritual guidance, please get a hold of me at Maggie, MAGGIE _heart @outlook.com, and let me help you to be the person that you're truly meant to be. We'll be back after this. Please stay tuned. You're listening to the Positude podcast with Maggie Hart. We'll be right back, folks.
Times are sad, the economy's bad. I lost my job and the money I had. Don't wanna be homeless, living out on the street. I start to wonder What's gonna happen when you can't buy bread at the store? What's gonna happen to me and my brood? We're gonna wind up looking for food. Don't wanna be hungry or having nothing to eat. Makes me wonder what's gonna happen to me. Makes me wonder what's gonna happen to me.
And we're back. Thank you for joining me for the second half of the Positude podcast. I am your host, Maggie Hart, enjoying some quality time with you just like we would over a cup of coffee in our living rooms, talking about the fog this week. I came across a video. I'm not able to give credit to the videos that I played before the break because they were splits from TikTok or wherever that other people had taken and put into their videos. So I'm not sure of the people's original videos, the sources from which they came, and the people who put them into their videos that I watched didn't give them credit. So, but for this one that I want to play for you, this was actually made 2 years ago by Redacted, who at the time, I think they have like almost 3 million followers. I don't even know if they're still on the air. But back 2 years ago, they did a video. It was after COVID, and they did a video about a pandemic that Bill Gates and company had predicted to come in 2025, and it's a respiratory illness. So I'm going to play a couple of clips from their video from 2 years ago predicting what potentially we could be seeing the beginnings of now. Keep in mind, and I can't remember the name of the guy, but someone came out, I just watched the video like a week and a half ago, and was doing an interview and said that there would be a pandemic that started in January. When Trump took office. How'd that guy know? How did he know ahead of time? I wish I could remember his name. I'll have to look back and see if I can share that information with you next week. But in the meantime, this is, I think, very important for you to listen to. Just the clips that I've selected. They do go into an introduction, which I'm going to play for you, and then they play the entire simulation of the event that was supposed to start in 2025, and then I'm going to play the end of the video for you so you get a feel for what's being discussed here. It's pretty interesting stuff.
Talk about Bill Gates and the next pandemic. Bill Gates and the World Health Organization have announced when we will see the next pandemic, and they have a date for us. So get this on your calendar, prepare, plan your trips around this next pandemic right now. We'll have more on that in a second and the dates. But you'll remember Bill Gates and the World Health Organization previously held what was known as the 2001 event, Event 201. And it was about the Event 201 exercise. It was a simulation involving a coordinated global response to a coronavirus that they held in a simulation just months before COVID-19 was declared a global pandemic. So they're pretty good at predicting this stuff. I don't know how they pull this off. how they both...
Fauci, remember, Fauci told Trump in 2017, not that there could be, not that there might be, but there would be a pandemic during his presidency.
Yes.
Yeah, and Obama ran exercises for it during his presidency.
During his pregnancy.
During his presidency, too.
At the home factory.
So they've just gotten together and they're doing it again now. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, along with Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security and the World Health Organization. I wish I was making this up, but this is not a conspiracy theory. They did this. And they just conducted their next pandemic tabletop exercise in Belgium. It's called the Catastrophic Contagion. Hey, honey, where are you going this weekend? I'm going to Belgium. I got a conference. Oh, yeah, what's it about? It's called the Catastrophic Contagion event. Oh, what are you guys going to be doing? Oh, we're just planning the next pandemic. Just getting everything ready. Getting everything ready, locked up, and the new virus and vaccines. We'll have vaccines ready to go because that's how we do this. We plan it.
Okay, so back in October 2022, they had predicted and done this fake video, this reenactment video regarding what they're calling, or were calling at that time, the SEERS virus, SEERS. Oh, by the way, they talk about in the video that coronavirus didn't really target children, but this one does. It's called the Severe Epidemic Enterovirus Respiratory Syndrome. Let's listen to a few more minutes of this.
There it is, Catastrophic Contagion from October 2022, and now 2025. So that's what it'll be. It'll be the SEERS infection, the SEERS virus.
Well, they said that was an enterovirus. They said that was an enterovirus, which is polio was an enterovirus.
Oh, good.
So
And COVID was not?
Interesting.
No,
Norovirus. COVID was a corona.
Oh, okay. That's a type of...
So, yeah, the same people behind Event 201 that David was just talking about from a few years ago took place almost 3 years ago to the day, by the way. They completed their new one now, and they say that this is going to originate in Brazil, 2025, and get ready. So, in addition to Bill Gates, the 10 current and former health ministers and senior public health officials from Senegal, Rwanda, Nigeria, Angola, Liberia, Singapore, India, Germany participated in this simulation. They had pre-recorded news broadcasts, as you saw, and then they had the virus simulation, and they tested the rates of spread and how this would affect children and sweep across the globe, and how they would go into lockdowns and what they would do, and preparing, of course, for vaccines as well, making sure that those are lined up perfectly with this. See, this is the beauty of what these guys do, right? They know it's coming, so then they just develop the vaccines that they can sell to us, and they have them ready to go right there.
Okay, in the instance of time, I'm not going to play the whole video. It's called 2025. It's starting. Bill Gates announces the next pandemic date and outbreak location. Now, let me just play the last couple of minutes of this one piece because I think it's important.
Well, I was going to say, like I was saying from the very, very beginning, and we were talking about it on the show, that if there was actually a global pandemic, then these companies would have got together with world leaders and they would have created this vaccine and spread it to the world free of charge because they are profitable enough. The government could have paid for it to do that. But when they made it so that they created basically 9 new billionaires and it was so profitable for them, that shows you the true motivation, that it was nothing about a pandemic.
Right.
Yes.
And this is the same thing. It's like...
Yeah. Mrs. Mom in the chat is saying, do you see that they're saying targeting kids? Because that was the piece that I feel like that was missing from COVID, is that we realized that it was not particularly terrible on children. And so this is what it's like trying to show us that would be different. Because if we got another COVID related disease, we might not all mobilize the same way we did the first time.
Right.
But if it's going to hit our kids. You don't just live with long COVID, you live brain dead.
Well, that's the polio thing that Philip's talking about, right?
Right.
Yeah, I was going to say, I wonder if that's why they chose an enterovirus, because they wanted to, it just wasn't scary enough. It's not scary unless it involves children.
So is this what we're seeing now? It's definitely something that seems kind of coincidental, and the time certainly is right since they had planned it for 2025. What I'd like for everybody to do is to do your thing. Go into your prayer, your meditation, use your discernment, look at the videos that are out there, form your own conclusions. But one thing's for sure, people are getting sick, and the filter thing totally sketches me out. There's definitely something going on here. I talked about on my previous shows with the other issues from the chemtrails and the rain on how you can protect yourself. I had totally recommended on more than one occasion a device for your home for air purification. I absolutely feel, just like I saw that in vision several months ago, we are past time for that. Everybody should have one in their home. It doesn't have to be an expensive unit. Get what you can get. And in the absence of that, or in addition to that, like I do, I had talked about in previous show, there's an Amish Origins. You can get it online. I think it's from Pennsylvania. It's an all-natural chest rub, nose rub. It's an all-natural Vicks Vapor Rub or a Vicks Vapor Rub. I started putting that in my nostrils when I was going to spend any amount of time outdoors, and I absolutely feel like it helped me on the days that I did that and worked outdoors. I did not come inside as short of breath and as winded as I had I not utilized that. I also suggested wearing some sort of protective eye covering. I went out with sunglasses on. Any orifice is going to be subject to this stuff coming into you. You might want to wear earmuffs or earplugs. Keep your mouth closed when you're outside if you're a mouth breather as much as possible. I've recommended in the past the nebulizers. There are people that are putting colloidal silver in their nebulizer units to help to filter out their lungs. It's something that you absolutely want to research. Check with your doctor, but that is something that a lot of people have been doing since the chemtrailing started, and for other issues, respiratory issues. I know that they were doing it with COVID too. You may want to look into that. Those bamboo charcoal bags are very inexpensive. You can clean them just by putting them in the sunlight for 24 hours. They are good for picking up germs and particulate matter. Plants, house plants, parasite detoxes and detoxes. I talked a couple of weeks ago about the foot detox that I use. I absolutely would recommend anything like that. Drink lots of water. You can get a cheap tabletop mister and put thieves in it in a humidifier just to help kill any germs that may be in the environment, even though that's not specifically related. It can't hurt. And I did read an article too about Himalayan salt lamps. I have several of those I've used for years for allergies. These may not do a lot, but it's better than nothing in the absence of you having a personal purification or filtration unit in your home. And I've given the information on that before. Google them. You can get a unit, decent unit, for anywhere between $350, $450 right on up. If you're able to afford that, I would absolutely recommend that. Possibly consider wearing a mask outside, although I got to be honest with you, it's not something I'm ready to do right now, if at all. These are all things that, even if they do a little bit to help to cleanse the air inside your home, will help. It's better than nothing. And the other alternatives that I've mentioned really are reasonable, folks. Get some house plants. They say spiders are the best, but in an article that I read yesterday, they say 18 to 20 plants per home is a really good way to filter out bad stuff from the air. I have at least that many anyway, but do what you can and stay in prayer and meditation, and make sure that you put your protective shield around you. You ask for your angels to be around you and keep you safe. Picture your home being in a bubble and safe from, and your property, and safe from all of the stuff that's raining down or being put through the fog in the rain and the snow. Boy, whoever would have thought that we would be in times as these? It's sounds like, even every day, it's more like a dystopian novel, isn't it? But again, this is the Positude podcast, so I want to give everybody hope and calm your fears. And, we know that this is a planned thing. We can be pretty sure of that. I've hopefully given you some information that helps to substantiate that theory. Believe it or not, do whatever you think is best for you and your family, but I would absolutely engage in all of those protective measures that I mentioned. And again, I'm going to tell you that colloidal silver is amazing for cleaning germs and for purifying the air. So even if you just maybe put that through your little $5 or $6 humidifier, tabletop humidifier, it's got to be better than nothing. And I would absolutely recommend keeping your doors and windows closed. Obviously, it's wintertime. Hopefully, you don't have all of your windows open, but I know a lot of people will sleep with their window cracked, especially if they have a dry heat in their home for fresh air. I would not recommend that at this time. And again, please be diligent with your holistic, healthcare, your vitamins and your vitamin C and your zinc and things that help to strengthen your immune system. And just like I was shown in vision with the purifiers, the detoxification processes, I think will be very helpful at this time. I was guided to get into that and learn more about it for a reason. And take deep breaths and just know that you're going to get through this and it's going to be okay. We have to stick together. Whatever information you find, share with others. Please get whatever if it comes out of the sky and it's not normal, get it tested and share those results around so that the rest of us can have some insight into this. And I pray and meditate on everybody every day, and for the good of humanity, for the planet. I would love to see everybody take a few seconds to do that out of their day as well. Not just cover your own family, but cover everybody in a blanket of protection with positive energy and prayers and all the good stuff. We need to stick together and not be fearful or anxious. Make sure that you do self-care and get enough rest. Drink enough water. Protect your orifices when you go outside. Like I said, that Vicks or Amish stuff in your nose helps me. Look into a good quality mask if you're going to wear a mask outside. Please don't revert back to those terrible paper ones that did absolutely nothing then. They're not going to help you now. And keep a positive attitude. Stay in peace without anxiety. Your attitude does so much for your physical well-being. Thank you all so much for listening. I hope to see you next week. Have a great night. Take care, everybody.
So much for so we know, so